Hi guys. So today we're going to have a debate, but first let me address something that happened yesterday. So yesterday Sony came out and announced very plainly that the PlayStation 5 has been selling more than the PlayStation 4. How is that even possible? How? How? I have no idea that what concept they used to justify that news, because there are no consoles available on the market. None. Zero. I've looked in France, UK, Portugal, Spain, Poland, Netherlands. All of those Amazons, empty. Sold out. I went to Amazon US, empty. Sold out. I went to Fnac, which is a very big retailer in Europe. All of them in the Iberian Peninsula and beyond, France, UK, whatever, they're all empty, sold out. Brazil, sold out. Where are they getting those numbers that people are actually buying the console? It's impossible. There are none being sold because there are none being made because of the transistor crisis. Now, bits and pieces of information has been released on previous weeks that Sony is actually releasing some news that they're increasing production of the PlayStation. Now, that could be true, and I hope to God it is, because quite frankly, this situation is beyond pathetic. Again, I apologize for the surroundings. My daughters are still using the living room for their classes. Well, right now, no longer, but they did use it, and a small portion of the background broke off because they couldn't have backgrounds while being taught in digital classrooms, so we had to remove it. When we removed it, we broke it. So apart from that, I will move there in a couple of weeks when we get to fix that. Regarding what I was going to say, that news is completely lieful, shameful. There are no consoles being made. At least, for God's sakes, at least Microsoft is being silent. They're being silent. I do apologize for the light. There's something reflecting on it. At least they're being truthful. There's nothing to report. There's no sales report because there are no sales. Where the hell did IGN pick up those numbers, analyze it, and just flat out coming to say, oh, it's selling more than PlayStation 4? Bullshit. There are none being sold because there are none in the market. As simply as that. They could have reported that there are none in the market, and I wouldn't have this conversation with you guys. Simple. Now, enough ranting, so let's go to the debate of this week. So the debate of this week, as I promised last week, is about violence in video games. Now, there are various grades of violence that I classify on the video games. There are predatory violence, natural violence, and human violence. And also gratuitous violence. There are 4 levels that I classify. So let's start with the first one, natural violence. Natural violence is when you have creatures of nature that actually exist, fighting, like bulls fighting, lambs in the mountains fighting, That's very rare. There is actually only a couple of games that display that kind of behavior, but that's normal. That cannot be classified in order to increase the violence level of the game and classify it above a certain age. Because kids need to be taught that bulls fight, that other kinds of creatures actually fight as well. Now, the next class of violence, predatory violence, is when an animal hunts another one for meat, for sustenance. Now, that's also a normal um, creature behavior, and that needs to be taught to our kids. Lions eat gazelles. Simple. Now, that cannot be taught any other way, and that cannot increase the level of age that the video game will need to be sold to specifically. Why? Because that's normal behavior. If you turn on National Geographic, that's what you're going to see above car shows. And one other thing, which is very important, the next gradient, human violence. Now, human violence, it's humans killing humans. And humans killing animals. Although I don't like to say that is something natural to happen, it does happen. And the truth must be always displayed on video games as well. If you shove something inside a human, that human will die. Like a knife, or a blade, or a sword, or an axe. That human will die. Now, most games don't have the capacity, and movies as well don't have the capacity to show the fallout of that death, the pain that death causes to their family, to the loved ones. That's actually a very big moral question. In terms of humans killing animals, humans need to defend themselves against lions. But at the same time, most cases, we are the ones that put ourselves in danger in the video games. So it's normal behavior in terms of animal-human interactions. Of course, there are cuddly animals like cats, dogs, whatever. That kind of violence, killing a dog, killing a cat, it needs to be very well justified. For example, in zombie games, and that already belongs to the next classification, gratuitous violence. Now, gratuitous violence, alongside human violence, could be used to scale up the age factor that a game needs to be classified to be sold to. Now, gratuitous violence is like violence against the battles between human and zombies, human and monsters. There's blood, gore everywhere. That needs to scale up the age factor, for sure. That's gratuitous violence. In most cases, killing a dog or a cat, a pet, would be considered as well gratuitous violence. As you can see, there are many factors that can raise up or down the scale of what age is a video game for. Now, that scale needs to be reanalyzed worldwide, and there needs to be a consensus on what type of violence classifies the game above or beyond, or above or below a certain age group to be sold to. And of course, again, that sale, that purchase needs to be screened by security systems that guarantee that the person that is actually buying the game actually is age worthy of buying it. Now, how to do that? There are a couple of ways to screen the process online, but again, if it is a physical sale on the retailer, it's going to be tremendously hard to enforce the sale to a specific age. Retailers want and like to make money. So, bottom line is the screenage needed to be updated. The enforcing of those rules needed to be enforced even more, and it's not. I don't see that happening on the foreseeable future, because then, quite frankly, a lot of the legislators of the countries would come screaming bloody murder that our freedoms would have been in jeopardy of buying whatever we want. Um, Children-wise, that's very dangerous, and all of those sales needed to be enforced to a specific age factor. Um, taking that into consideration, we needed to analyze the story of the game. And that would postpone the launch of a game. Now, I do know that economically, that's not viable for the editors of the games. The developers and the companies that make the game. That's not economically. How can I put this? It's not economically feasible for them. It's not viable. It's always viable, but it's not feasible because they have a very big investment on making a video game. Most video games today of the big companies have a budget above movies. So we're talking millions and millions of dollars of euros invested on a video game. So naturally, those euros, that money needs to be recovered, and that's initially on the launch day. Of course, for the legislators and people that would work on those agencies to grade the games, would guarantee that the game launch would be postponed. But that would be a factor that the developers would and producers would need to consider when they would launch a game. Of course, that would change the scene of marketing a game a little bit. But I think it would be viable today doing that. We already have a lot of tools to guarantee that online. Physically, that would be a lot more different, more difficult, actually. So that's it for this week. So um, if you guys have any thoughts about how to do the enforcement of selling a game on retailers, just leave it on the comments below. Leave a like on my video and subscribe to my channel. See you guys next week with the newsreel. Oh, and by the way, I will be doing these two debates in Portuguese next week on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, there will not be a soccer game, Let's Play FIFA, on our channel. There will be the debates. Okay? So I think this is important to do in multiple languages in terms of, just debating this. This needs to be put out. So I'll see you guys next week. Play on and stay safe.